Hello and welcome everybody back once again to the Team America Talent Scout event brought to you by Init Esports. Today, we get ready to head down to Brazil into the track of Sao Paulo for a little bit of Interlagos. 2.7 miles or 4.3 kilometers these drivers are going to be tackling today, and this is going to be an exciting one. The car class tonight is going to be the LMP2. A little bit of hypercar action for these drivers on what is going to be a fairly difficult track. This is a 15-corner circuit, 10 to the left and 5 to the right, and the drivers, they are going to be in for a bit of a challenge. Now, a little bit more of that later. Let's talk a little bit about what we have tonight. First off, though, I am your host tonight, Mike Noss. Joined alongside me is none other than the Sagar Bakshi. As we get ready to get into the evening tonight, Sagar, we get to talk a little bit about this event and what we have going on for us. It is going to be a very, very electric one tonight, as we often have for the Team America Talent Scout event. In fact, it is going to be not one, but two races tonight as we get ready to tackle the circuit in the Dallara P217 over at the Autodromo Carlos Pace, of course, again, being Interlagos. This is going to be a very tight track, but again, before we get into this one here tonight, why don't we talk, or rather take a look back at some of the previous events that we had in the last event. As Jordan Johnson is going to lead us away here for event 3 of the Team America Talent Scout event, and we are green racing. Johnson shot out of the start like a cannon. It's a little bit of battling in the background behind. Cale Davidson also going side by side with Kelton Quick. Up at the front, Dylan Batty making moves on to Bronson Turner. Side by side down the hill, somebody's going to have to give an Eau Rouge Radion.
Here is going to be the three-way battle for the lead. Coming down the Kemmel Straight, it's going to be side by side into the braking zone. We're going to have to go single file line for at least the duo there.
Side by side down into Lake Holm. Jordan is not going to give it up, though. It looks like he was hesitant there at first to keep the position, but he goes and defends it quite hard, gives the shoulder to Bronson Turner.
Jordan Johnson's going to take the victory here for heat number 1 at Spa-Francorchamps.
Side by side with Winnie Workman right now, down into the final chicane. Who's going to get it? It looks like Andrew's going to keep that aggressive line, keep the inside. The switchback, though, as Winnie Workman's going to have the momentum. It's going to be a photo finish to the line, but Andrew Herschel is going to manage it. We get ready here with the lights coming on at Spa-Francorchamps. This is going to be race 2 of the Team America Talent Scout event, event 3, and we are underway. This time it's a very even start up at the front. Jordan Johnson and Batty getting off quite well. In the background, it looks like Fryman is going to be making a move down to the inside of not just one, but 3 drivers, 3 wide into the first corner, and we are alive and racing. Nope, down the back stretch and into Lake Holm. Now, who is gonna give here? Kelton Quick has been aggressive, but he's not able to get it done just yet. Noberto Alvarez Jr., stellar driving thus far. Nathaniel Fryman, also no slouch at all. He's been doing an incredible drive in both race 1 and 2.
Of Kelton Quick trying to go side by side, 2 by 2 through Blanchimont now, and it's still going to be flat out for all the drivers. But is it going to be the opportune run to have the inside line going into the bus stop chicane? The highlighter machine of Roman Lee goes through.
Side by side into the braking zone. It looks like he's actually got the overspeed. I think he might have this done before we even get there. It's a squeeze and a half, though, as they both share the center of the track. The racing line is for Adrian, but the inside is for Turner. This is going to be Lee and Fryman down into the braking zone. Who is going to give? I would imagine the inside line is going to take the one here, and it does. That's going to be Lee gaining that position for right now. Hits the curb on the left, hits the curb on the right, and the checkered flag is graciously awaiting him as he takes the victory for the Team America Talent Scout Event 3. Looking further back, the battle of the century, contact between Roman Lee, Kelton Quick, and Davidson as they fight their way to the line, and it will finish in that order. Behind them, as I can't even take a breath, it's going to be Davidson, Turner, Jacob, Puebla, Halsband, all in that order. And that is a little look back to what we had in our previous session. More of that tonight. But before we get into that, folks, let's take a look at the events that, or the sponsor that will make this event possible. And that is going to be, of course, Regadget. If you take a look on your screen right now and scan that QR code, you will head on over to regadget.com/gaming, and you can take a look over at their Phoenix bundle that they just recently put out. If you're looking for an affordable PC, whether it's for gaming on sim racing or for Rocket League or any other platform out there, you can get involved. Again, get on to Regadget. They have incredible deals starting around $1,500 for a amazing package. And again, you can get started there. They transform old technology into new ones as well. So if you have a PC that's laying around and don't know what to do with it, send it over to them. They'll pay for the shipping and they will get that refurbished and head on over to a better purpose. Now though, of course, Sagar, we also have some other sponsors to talk to here tonight.
Definitely. Thank you very much to our partner sponsors, Esports Edge, Roku, eClutch, AK Esports UK, and of course, the platform that we race on, iRacing. Mike?
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing one here tonight. Of course, everybody making this possible. It takes a village, as of course our lovely boss Steffi Bao would say, and a little bit about in it as well. Of course, we have some other leagues that we do run. You can scan that QR code that occasionally will pop up on your screen, or alternatively, you can head on over to initesports.gg, or if you're over on the Twitch chat side of things, you can type !Discord to get involved, or if you're on YouTube, scroll down. And of course, a big warm welcome to everybody watching on eClutch or over on Esports Edge on Roku. This is going to be an eventful one, Sagar. Let's take a minute to break down what we're expecting here for tonight. This is a difficult car track combo, as both you and I found a couple weeks ago when we were driving out together. Maybe not the most talented two in terms of racecraft between us here, but when it comes to the drivers on the grid here tonight, we were taking a look at the qualifying, and it is close. We're seeing tenths separating the mid-pack as we speak.
It's very tight in the midfield for the drivers that are probably more equipped to deal with the midfield section than we were. And we were going off at a couple of the S's every once in a while, or every few laps or so as we were trying to get our promo shots in. But for the most part, the drivers here can manage the conditions that they're faced with. Interlagos is going to demand a lot of patience, especially through the infield section, as well as coming out of the final corner. That long stretch of tarmac leading down in towards turn 1 is going to demand a little bit of patience for the drivers to get the respect and results that they expect tonight.
Yeah, that final corner, of course, where everybody knows the famous clip of, is that Glock going slow? And yes, in fact, it was Lewis Hamilton taking his first Drivers' World Championship at this circuit. Of course, all the years back, what was that, 2007, 2008? One of those two, I know, but it was a bit of a minute ago. And as, of course, our producer, Tom Bryant, in my ear saying, it makes me feel a little bit old. It feels like yesterday, doesn't it, for those who watched that live? Nobody will ever forget that moment, of course. But tonight, we're going to have some unforgettable moments as well. Again, the LMP2 Sagar, they're a very difficult car to drive in terms of handling. This is sort of that cutting-edge balance between downforce and mechanical grip, but more leaning towards that downforce side. You have to go a certain speed to make this car stick.
Especially under braking. You have to be going a certain speed to make that arrow push your car into the asphalt so that you can go faster and faster. Otherwise, you're going to be at the back of the pack, Mike.
Speaking of that pack, let's take a look at how the qualifying order slotted us in. And up at the top is going to be Alex Caruso, some of the the keen-eyed might notice, no Jordan Johnson on the list here tonight. Jake Cummins, though, coming here in second place with about 2/10 separating that pole position, a blink of an eye. Nathaniel Fryman down in third with Bronson Turner coming up in fourth. Jacob Dick coming home in fifth position, a great qualifying there for tonight. Javier Sierra, one of the newer names out there as well, going to be joining us there in sixth position with Eric Halsband behind in seventh. Riley Mills coming home in eighth position for the qualifying with Sean Roberts behind in ninth, and rounding out our top 10 will be Lewis Holloway.
Max Bowman in 11th with Aaron Brown alongside on that 6th row with Morgan Stringer and Sergio Orestes on the 7th. Reed Couch and Brian Schroyer with Gerson Herrera in tow.
And as we get ready, the drivers are going to be having a full outlap here tonight at Interlagos for round 4, which means, Sauger, that they're going to be getting a lot of heat into those tires. And actually, correction, it's going to be a half of an outlap. So still a lot of time to get that crucial temp into the tires, into the brakes as they get ready to stomp on it for the first corner. This is going to be a very, very important outlap for their preparation.
Absolutely, especially with nearly 30 degrees Celsius track conditions. It's quite hot out there.
Yeah, and certainly is. And on top of that here, by the way, I just want to take a little moment to mention that, of course, what we have here at Init Esports. I don't think I've talked about that too much yet. So for anyone wondering what we are here at Init Esports, first off, we thank you for joining us. But here we run leagues, we have event organization, and on top of that, we can do activations as well and everything in between when it comes to the sim racing side. So whether you're looking for a nice community to come and hang out with, come and join occasional weekly races, this is the place. Or if you're looking to get serious and get involved with our Init team and get more involved to the iRacing officials, it is going to be the place to go. And again, if you're looking for an activation or need a setup, whether it's at a home, whether it's at an event, whether it is at an airport or anything in between, again, we can make that happen over here at Init Esports. So a massive shout out to everybody involved with the platform. Now, Sauger, we got cars on track. We're taking a look at that famous penultimate to slash final corner, and the drivers are getting ready to get going here for race 1. It's a 20-minute race to start us off with. The second race will be the order of the first one. So let's get into this one here tonight. You can see the weaving. That's that crucial tire management that I was talking about. The drivers also going to be on their brakes, getting all of the heat they can as they get ready to stomp on it for the first time here tonight. And the one time for the Team America this month. Again, next month, we'll be heading over to Road America as well. So if that's something that interests you, head on over to our website and you can find the signups. But here we go, folks. Pace car is in. Alex Caruso on pole position with Jake Cummins alongside. The green is waiting. The drivers are eager, and we are going to be green flag running now side by side immediately down into the first corners. We're 2x2x2 crashing in the background as there's going to be multiple drivers getting caught up in this. Sean Roberts being one that's most involved, but up at the front, it looks like it's going to be Alex Caruso leading Nathaniel Fryman as it stands. Jake Cummins dropping back to third right now. It looks like Nathaniel managed to get the over-under through the S's and carry that momentum now onto the start fit or on the first straight. Still side by side for Jake Cummins as Bronson Turner is looking to get his nose involved. That's going to be very wide for the 97 of Jake Cummins, and he's got to keep it under control, Sauger, if he wants to keep these positions. But right now, he's got a lot to look forward to in this middle sector.
Here comes the 97 trying to challenge on the inside line to the number 81. Gets the over-under completed through turn 8 and 9 now. All the way up to the hairpin of turn 10. Jake Cummins is going to be driving away up into P3 right now. Bronson Turner holding back to P4, about half a second back. Most importantly, though, can Cummins catch up to Nathaniel Fryman up ahead? He's closing down that gap. One thing we know for sure is the slipstream here coming out of the final couple of corners down the straightaway is going to be massive. You can see the speed. He's ever so slightly gaining that distance on him slowly but surely as the times are starting to trickle in there. 134 on that outlap is holy Toledo fast. And a spin for the 255 of Eric Halsband under braking that looked like a solo spin. I don't think he was pushed, Mike.
I have to agree. It looked like it was just a self-inflicted incident there. And that's one of the favorites that I had going into the night as well. Somebody who took part in the 24-hour of Nürburgring this weekend, 4th competition with his team. And unfortunately that's going to be the cookie crumbling very, very early for Eric Halsband. So a long race ahead of him, and still a second one as well. So a redemption drive now is on the mind for Eric. Look at this little aggression, though, that we're seeing. Gerson Herrera under pressure, putting the pressure on at the moment, sending it around the outside of the right-hander. That's not quite a spot you want to be making an overtake unless you are very confident that you can get to the inside. Momentum not in the favor here of Gerson Herrera on this occasion. Morgan Stringer is going to walk away, but Gerson, by the way, up 6 positions so far. We also have a little bit of a replay here. Let's take a look at what led him to this success, and he got a start of a lifetime. Sends it 3 wide. Oh, and then is going to be the responsible one, or the responsible party for that collision as well. So certainly the stewards will be taking a look, and that would explain 6 positions gained, Sauger. You hate to see it, but the racing, it goes on.
Absolutely, it will carry on, and here's Cummings now all over the rear end of Nathaniel Fryman. Jake is down 1 position from where he started this event in P2, but is all over the rear end of that position and could potentially get it here and now on the run down towards turn 4 before we get down to Decidia do Lago, and that's going to be a little bit wide for Nathaniel Fryman. The 97 of Jake Cummings is going to go back through, but will the overspeed be there back for the number 27 of Nathaniel? It will be there, but he's a little hesitant to snatch that position back. Looks further in his rear view mirror, and it's filled with Bronson Turner, who's got that highlighter machine filling it up right now, pink and yellow. It's hard to miss on the racetrack here at Interlagos.
Yeah, unfortunately for Nathaniel Fryman, it's hard to miss the racetrack, but in this case, he managed to sail himself nearly out to the Amazonias. Now, though, back to the racing. Jacob Dick, he has Bronson Turner firmly in his sights right now. By the way, after that overtake that we saw from Jake Cummins, no movement in our top 6. All of the drivers are where they started. Max Bowman is the first one to change that up. He's up 4 positions from where he began as well. So we're seeing not quite much movement, but Bronson Turner is looking to change that, and looking to change that quite quickly. Nathaniel Fryman feeling the pressure, and Jacob Dick sort of a little bit of a chess game at 180 miles an hour for him right now as he tries to decide what to do, just as Eric Halsband is having the same decisions. He currently has Reed Couch ahead of him and trying to get by, but the defense so far is working in the favor here of the number 3 machine. The 255 has a lot of work to do, messes the S's up, and now that momentum, the very crucial overtaking opportunity into the next corner, is gonna be gone, and he'll have to wait more than likely another lap to get the job done out of 4.
Now over to Fryman, who's defending hard but fair for Bronson Turner, who's sitting behind him. Both drivers sitting with an A license and showing their skill and their cleanliness here at the racetrack. Keeping their racing distance between each other is one thing, but keeping it tight is a whole nother responsibility. Being able to see through the car in front of you to the apex is an absolute talent and craft that these drivers are showcasing here tonight. Absolutely phenomenal stuff, pushing flat out at nearly 180 miles an hour coming down the straightaway and trusting the car in front of you. Well, that's just in it.
You know, I think I've talked about this a few times before, Sauger, but this is my probably all-time favorite track. It's up there. It's certainly in my top 3, and with the LMP2 being in my top 3 car combinations as well for this circuit, it's a difficult one. You know, a lot of the drivers, when you first come out onto this track, first off, the LMP2s, they are so ridiculously fast, especially if you're used to driving GT3s or even GT4s especially, I'd say. It almost feels like as soon as you hit the accelerator, Sauger, you're pretty much at the next corner. You almost have no time to react. So you have to be on the best decision making as Aaron Brown here finds himself running a little bit wide as well. By the way, let's just take a little side tangent while I'm on a side tangent. Aaron Brown, currently up in the 9th, he's been having quite a stellar past couple races. Now, obviously, in the FIA F4s, like, commentators curse the heck out of Aaron Brown, and I feel very bad for that. But he still had a very solid drive, and for somebody who is maybe a bit more of an oval expert, taken to some road racing, he's found quite a lot of success. So I'd love to see how far Aaron Brown has come since he first joined the Team America Talent Scout event. And again, if that's something that interests you, you can be that story as well. Whether you're an oval specialist, whether you are a track specialist, scan that QR code down in the bottom right to get yourself involved here at Innit Esports and here for Team America. Now, back to what I was saying though, Sauger, this being my favorite track, this is part of the reason why. This final corner, very, almost, I would say, turtle's pace when it comes to how it feels when you're driving it, but then you get on the accelerator down to the S's, and this is where the action starts. The overtaking is ripe. There's plenty of opportunities through this middle sector and heading into the final. Let's see how these drivers get on. Aaron Brown ahead, or excuse me, Mills ahead of Brown, ahead of Bowman.
Morgan Stringer is not too far detached from this conversation as well. Sitting just 3/10 back from Bowman, is prime for getting involved in this conversation here. And now Aaron Brown chases down Mills up ahead, who's up one position, leading this healthy pack of drivers. You can throw a blanket over them. They're about 2 seconds across these 4 cars into the braking zone. A little bit closer than that, even, as almost goes into the rear end is Bowman, but he's cautious and careful with getting back on the loud pedal, but that margin came down, well, to darn near nothing, Mike.
Yeah, it certainly did. And following through this middle sector, we briefly touched on it earlier, but it's very difficult. The dirty air is playing havoc on these cars. These cars love the downforce. They want all of the air pushing down on it in a very predictable way. And as soon as you change that and now have unpredictable air and also less of it, it gets a lot harder to drive. So very much credit to Max Bowman, credit to all these drivers for being able to stay in a pack like this. Down to the first corner, this is going to be one of your better overtaking opportunities. That, and then on the exit of the S is down on the run towards turn 4. Let's see if anything happens on this lap. I think the drivers right now are feeling each other out, seeing their weaknesses and where they can strike. Now, one driver that's going to be loving to see this is Eric Halsman. He's currently 2.2 seconds back behind Gerson Herrera, who's 3.2 behind this pack. So plenty of time still, nearly 10 minutes left for Eric Halsman to have a bit of a recovery drive. In terms of pace, Eric managing around the 128, so 128.7 was his previous lap. He's nearly on pace with the leader, which we haven't mentioned that much, by the way, Alex Curso, who has disappeared, 5-second gap so far.
Yeah, Alex Caruso, excuse me, really has run away with this one so far in front of Jake Cummins, who was battling with Nathaniel Fryman earlier on in this race, but no longer so, as the gap there has escaped to 2.6 seconds. Bronson Turner sitting back 1 second off nearly from Fryman, and he has Jacob Dick behind him in company. Here's the battle right now between Aaron Brown and Max Bowman, still raging on as we approach the penultimate corner. But one thing I did want to talk about is something I learned from the boys over at NASCAR. And you would think, Sauger, why would you mention that? Well, Mike, I'll tell you why. How important it is to be the third car in this train of cars, and what it means to disturb the cars in front aero. Basically, what's happening is that a vortex is being created behind the LMP, basically a wake right off of the rear wing. And that vortex is what pushes the car down into the earth. Well, if Max Bowman gets within that wake, he can actually disturb it and catch that arrow to pass over him. And then he is going to push forward Aaron Brown. It's quite the phenomenon that I learned from the NASCAR boys, but it does translate into sports car racing as well.
And on top of that, physics at play there. You can also, if you're the lead car, kind of pull your opponent off the circuit. If you run a little bit wide, well, naturally that airflow is going to stick to the car, and they're going to follow you. And on top of that, they're watching your tire tracks and driving in every single moment of it. So there we see Jacob Dick running a little bit wide. Was it because of Bronson Turner? Potentially. Was it because he just hit that loud pedal a little too early? Also, potentially. But right now, Jacob Dick has a lot on his mind, but currently Gerson Herrera and Eric Halsband are at each other's throats. Eric in a very awkward spot of the track trying to make an overtake. You really don't want to be making a move through the middle or the end sector, but this is perfect. Set yourself up through Jungsao and on the way to the first corner. Momentum is in the favor. Gerson Herrera covers the inside line, but this should be Eric Halsband's corner regardless. He has the overspeed, but can he get there before the braking zone? It doesn't look like he can. He will have a nose ahead, but it's going to require utter confidence to get this move done. Eric Halsband around the outside, keeps his nose in it, and manages to get the job done. Gerson backs out at the last moment and will hand that position over to Eric Halsband. Now, I'd imagine we're going to see a little bit of teamwork, as you were mentioning, Sauger, as Gerson Herrera is just going to have to sit on the back of Eric Halsband, although I say that, and it looks like he's going to be quite aggressive. Runs a little wide, flashy the headlights, and that battle is going to be done. By the way, a little reminder in case you are curious, if you take a look down to that bottom right, you can see a QR code to our Init team. If you want to take part in our official iRacing events, this is the place to do it. And on top of that, other events as well throughout different leagues. This is the official team of Init. You can scan that QR code for more information to get involved. Look at this, Sauger, a three-way fight. This, I think, is starting to get to its boiling point now. The drivers, they were feeling each other out for a few laps. I think they know their weaknesses. They know their strengths. It looks like the gloves are starting to come off.
Absolutely. The cars are definitely becoming a little bit more alive than they were in the opening stages. The tires have warmed up to a significant temperature at this point. The brakes have definitely gotten worked in. They're in their prime operating window. And now, who's going to maximize? Will it be the 18 or will it be Javier Sierra? Who knows at this point, at this stage? Or will it be Aaron Brown or Mills, excuse me? And it will be Brown, the 18, in front of Riley Mills, the 112, who falls back into 8th position. But as you said, Mike, it's not exactly where you want to be in front of the pack. Going into the final couple of corners, you really leave yourself vulnerable to the attacking pairs from behind. Another analogy to NASCAR is you really just want to be there in the final 5 laps. And here's an opportunity for Mills as he goes through on Bowman, or the reversal from Bowman on Mills, excuse me.
I think that was just really Bowman smelling blood in the water, and Mills, I don't know what's happened, but you can see, I wonder if he's overheated the tires. There's a lockup on the rear right heading into the right-hander of the middle sector too. So very, very interesting. Riley was doing such a good job up to this point. Now let's take a look at this overtake again. This is a ruthless overtake, like a viper striking at the last possible moment down to the inside. There really wasn't much Riley Mills could have done to defend that other than cover the inside much, much earlier than he did. Left it open. Max Bowman says, thank you very much. He's being a very good doorman. And through goes Bowman. Brown now has a new, well, I guess not a new driver to be fighting against, as they were in the rearview mirror previously. Now he just has to stay ahead. And as you mentioned, being in the lead is not necessarily where you want to be. However, you eventually got to make that pass. You got to get by at some point in order to find those positions. Now, Aaron Brown, 7 seconds to Jason Sierra, Javier Sierra. A long ways to go, but still certainly possible. 5 minutes left. Now, this battle raging on. Bronson Turner locking up that rear right as well. He is seeing some weakness. Jacob Dick is applying the pressure, and almost a little bit too much there.
This is a great three-way battle for the podium here, as Caruso and Cummings have run away with P1 and P2. Fryman, though, under threat from Bronson Turner and Jacob Dick in 5th. So 3, 4, 5 still undecided and up for grabs as we head into the final 4 minutes of this session, Mike. But we still have one more heat coming up, and that will be the feature race.
It certainly will. The drivers, wherever the position they are currently, that is where they will be starting in the next one. So if Caruso thought he had it made easy tonight, well, that might not be the case. He's going to have to re-rack, restack, and go again and try to make another victory happen. Currently, it's looking quite likely, and you got to say, Alex Caruso's pace is unmatched. He is the only driver actually in the 127s. That is not true. Jake Cummins is doing an incredible job, but only 1/10 off the pace of Alex Caruso. So I'm wondering if he's sort of had a fire lit underneath his seat, and we'll see in the next session if that is going to translate over. The fastest lap, though, is going to be in Caruso's hand, and I don't think that's going to be going anywhere anytime soon. Other drivers to keep an eye on, Sauger, for the next race. Sean Roberts down 7 positions. He got tangled up in that lap 1 incident. We also had Lewis Holloway get tangled up. And again, Eric Hausband with that self-inflicted spin that we had in the first corner. He is a driver to certainly keep an eye on heading into the next session, as I guess now is a good little time to mention, as we keep a close eye on this battle, what exactly the Team America Talent Scout is. We're not necessarily looking for drivers who are going to win every race. While yes, of course, that is going to play a role, we are looking for drivers that can work through problems. We're looking for drivers that are not just quick, but also are quick on their feet. They're able to react to the problems that they're thrown at them and come back through the grid and manage to make a bad situation into a good one. That doesn't necessarily always happen, but it's about the heart, it's about the will, and it's about the determination, also about the driving ability. So if that's something that interests you, head on down to our website and scan that QR code that you had on your screen, and you can head over to Team America. That was a nice little move, though. Bronson Turner gets by. Fryman now into 5th, and Sierra back down to 6th. So this battle, I don't think is going to be done yet, Sauger. They are still going to be at each other's throat for the next 2.5 minutes.
Heading into the final 2 laps of this race, it should be this one plus 1 more for the trio here. Bronson Turner definitely under threat from Jacob Dick. Nathaniel Fryman from hero to zero. Well, maybe that was a little rough. He's in 5th place, and now he's trying to make it up into 4th place as he goes for a move on Jacob Dick. But we all know that the inside line turns into the outside line for the following quarter. And will he get left enough racing room? He sure is. And the opportune moment has arisen, and the 27 tries to find again the inside line as we crisscross applesauce through the twisty infield section here at Interlagos. Going into the penultimate corner, it's hard heavy on the brakes. You got to get slowed down more than you think to get on the loud pedal coming out of the final corner of Juncal and Dos Boxes. Headed out of the final corner, it's a long run full of slipstream, and this is going to be the white flag lap, so this will be the last opportunity for Fryman to catch up to Bronson Turner, but he has escaped up the road by 1.1 seconds right now. The battle lies between Dick and Fryman.
And this is really the opportunity for Fryman. If he's going to make something happen, he needs to do it here. That's a very defensive line from Jacob Dick and not always the proper reaction. It is going to cover the inside. We also have that battle, looks like, up ahead as well. But there we see it. Fryman is going to be overtaken, it looks like, by Jacob Dick, potentially. We're not done yet. Hold that thought as we get ready to head through the Laranjas into the S's and down into turn 9. It is going to be Dick over Fryman at this point, but we're not done. It's so difficult to make an overtake happen through here. You have to strike while the iron's hot, and it looks like it's cooled down at this point. The tires, they're screaming from the temperature, but currently our leader has absolutely zero pressure on his shoulders. It is going to be Alex Caruso in the 68 coming through the final corner of turn 14 and into 15 now for what is going to be a easy ride to victory in race 1. Race 2 coming up, of course. Let's see how he takes it, but the checkered flag is out, and Alex Caruso is the first driver to find it in race 1. Jake Cummins is going to be the driver that comes home in second. The number 97 will be a little bit behind, 7 seconds, 9 seconds behind for Bronson Turner. Jacob Dick looks like he has alleviated that pressure, and it's going to be Nathaniel Fryman coming home in 5th with Sierra behind in 6th. Battle still on, though, Sauger, for 10th.
Here's Morgan Stringer and Max Bowman dragging to the line. This is going to be a photo finish, surely, as Max Bowman tries to go to the high line, but it will be a 2/10 gap between Stringer and Bowman. Gerson Herrera, about 11 seconds back, will cross the line in 12th. Sergio Orestes in 13th. Couch in 14th, Lewis Holloway in 15th. Or is it settled yet? And looks like it will be, as Couch in the spike livery in front of Holloway. Then Sean Roberts and Brian Schroyer.
Brilliant race one, and one more race to go. Don't go anywhere, folks, whether you're watching live on Twitch, YouTube, or over on Esports Edge or eClutch. First off, we thank you for joining us. If you are watching over on Esports Edge on Roku, we're going to take a little break, brief advertisement. We'll be back in a couple minutes, but for everybody else, we will still be here. Now, let's dissect this one a little bit, Sauger, as of course we've had race one. We've seen a bit of a dominant victory from Alex Caruso, but beyond that, we've seen a little bit of difficult overtaking maneuvers. This track is quite wide at the best of times, but as we see here in this middle sector, it's very tight, it's very twisty. The track limits are never far away, and that is almost what I would say claimed more than anybody here tonight was the track limits. A lot of slowdown penalties, a lot of drivers battling with just trying to keep it between the mayo and the mustard, and some drivers taking it a little bit too wide, costing them positions, and then of course the obvious, the spins and the collision that we had on race one. But all in all, a very exciting race one to head us and segue us into race two.
Absolutely. This is a great showcase beyond that first lap, first corner incident of what these drivers are capable of producing. Good, clean racecraft. It was almost like hot lapping sessions, but with a trio of cars all battling for that same real estate. It was great to see them all grouped up battling for position like that, but most importantly, it was so respectful out there tonight. Racing room was given to everybody. A couple of drivers flashy up the headlights in frustration there, but I think everybody knows that's just heat of the moment reactivity right there. But all is fair in love and war, especially when it comes down to representing the country that we love.
Absolutely. And with that, I think it's safe to say we have officially had a new winner of Team America Talent Scout. This current season, all three races leading up to this have been won by Jordan Johnson, but this time Alex Caruso taking the victory tonight. Let's take a moment though to talk a little bit about some of the other championships that we have here at Init. If you are looking for an all-women's championship, this is the place to be. VIR in the Formula Vs. You couldn't have more Vs in one spot. This is going to be amazing. This is going to be coming up on May 17th, just 2 weeks away now at this point. And we will also, of course, be hosting some practice sessions as well. So if you are interested, looking to get some time out on track, and of course, sign up for our all women's championship, you can scan that QR code, head over to our website, initesports.gg, and find the sign ups there. Let's talk, though, a little bit about the results that we have from race one. As you can see, Alex Caruso, 7.2 seconds over Jake Cummins. It's going to be a very difficult race heading into for the rest of everybody to beat Alex Caruso. Honestly, it's going to be a bit of an effort to dethrone him, but Jake Cummins in second with Bronson Turner behind in third. Jacob Dick coming home in fourth. This was the battle of the century with Nathaniel Fryman and Javier Sierra down in sixth. Aaron Brown doing a great showing tonight as well with a seventh place finish. Riley Mills coming home in eighth. Eric Halsband recovering back up to ninth, and Morgan Stringer rounding out your top 10.
Max Bowman rounds out your 11th position. Gerson Herrera in 12th. Sergio Orestes in 13th. Reed Couch in 14th. Lewis Holloway, Sean Roberts, and Brian Schroyer will round out the 17 drivers tonight.
Also, of course, if you are interested, we briefly touched on this during the race, but we have a team, an official Init team. We join not just the official iRacing events. The next official iRacing event, by the way, that we are going to be taking part in is going to be the Indy 2, or the, it's the Indy 500 coming up in a couple weeks' time. Then after that, we'll be taking part in the 6 hours of the Glen for the road racing circuit. But if you're looking to get out on track, whether, of course, you are a man or a woman, you can sign up. We have both categories available, and we're looking to get absolutely everybody involved. We don't just take part, as I mentioned, in the iRacing official races. We also are looking to branch out into some other community races as well and get the name of Init out there. If that's something that interests you, you want to represent the Init team name, head over to our website and sign up there. You can get in touch with all of our lovely team admins, and we can get you out on circuit really as soon as possible. Now, Sauger, again, race 2 coming up. Let's talk a little bit about it. How do you beat Alex Caruso? The short answer is I don't know if you do. The long answer is a little bit of luck, I think, for Jake Cummins. Jake Cummins here showed some really electric pace at the end. Let's just be honest. He was only a 10th off of Alex Caruso, but it's going to take maybe a little bit of a mistake from Caruso. Maybe he overheats his tires early and can maybe get punished later on in the race. I'll be honest, there's really not much to critique from Alex Caruso's drive because of how perfect it was.
I think Alex Caruso would definitely need to make a lap 1, turn 1 critical mistake that cost him about 60 seconds realistically for the rest of the field to be able to catch up. That pace that he had was about 3/4 of a second a lap. We did a significant amount of laps around here. The pace just adds up mathematically to the rest of the field, especially when you add in that Jake Cummins had to fight it out with, Nathaniel Fryman earlier on in the race. I couldn't remember if it was that or Bronson Turner. Wanted to make sure I got it right. Turner was in the later on battle, but it was great to see him battle it out. But the rest of the field worked together, use that slipstream to their advantage, and then you can challenge Caruso up at the front.
And Alex Caruso, by the way, being the highest I rating driver in the server currently, which no surprise to, I think, anybody at the in terms of the pace. Jake Cummins also second highest, and unfortunately, again, Jordan Johnson missing tonight would have been the highest. Some other big names just to shout them out because, of course, we are missing them. We're missing Cale Davidson, one of the previous podium finishers for Daytona. We're missing Roman Lee, Andrew Herschel not participating in this one as well, and Dylan Batty, previous P2 finisher as well in Spa. So missing some really big names in the faster drivers, and I think part of that is, of course, due to the fact that we just had this 24 hours this weekend. The drivers are, I'd imagine, recovering at this point. If you did take part in the 24, first off, a big round of applause to everybody that did manage to take the finish. I know some of the drivers, Eric Hausman, for example, did drive, and I'm pretty sure he also drove with Russell Soto in that one as well with the Thays team, and they managed, I think, 7th in their split, so a very, very good drive for Eric Hausman. Unfortunately for him, not so good in this previous Team America race, but as we get ready to head into race 2, Sauger, we'll get to see, I'm sure, some positions made up from him.
Absolutely. This is going to be another great showcase of skill and what the drivers are capable of producing across different platforms, across different varieties that we've seen. We've been in the formula cars, we've been in open wheelers. Now it's time to step up to a prototype category as well and see what the drivers can do with limited traction aids and braking assists.
And of course, this being the official Team of America as well. So when it comes to any of the world events that are going to be hosted, whether it's LAN, whether it is going to be online, we will be representing America first and foremost. So if that's something that interests you, again, scan that QR code that you saw on your screen down in the bottom right and get involved here with Team America. Now, though, the buildup is on. The drivers are at their all-time highest nerves as we get ready for the gridding saga. This is when the nerves, the doubts start to pop into your mind as a racing driver. You say, well, I had a pretty good race one. Let's take a look, for example, at Jacob Dick. Made up quite a few positions. I think 4 positions total made up for him. What do you think going into this one? You know, the nerves being at their all-time high. You got Nathaniel Fryman, who you were battling tooth and nail with the previous race. I think the only thoughts are don't get into a contact in lap 1. And then on top of that, just try your best to not lose too many positions. If you lose 1 or 2, it's make-upable. But if you lose too many, especially at the start, it can be a bit of a difficult prospect here at Interlagos.
I think the primary focus of the entire field right now should be, I'm here to have fun. You know, it's one thing to want to be the fastest and represent the country, but right now the primary goal should be I'm here to have fun and go wheel to wheel with some fellow countrymen and have a good time as we see the drivers get formed up behind the official pace car here in iRacing. It's just, I want them to have a feeling of camaraderie and shake each other's hands at the end of the day. And that's the spirit of competition that we're looking for here for the Team America Talent Scout. And I think the drivers are getting a little taste of that. And especially with some of the lower rating some of the lower I rating drivers competing with some of the higher I rating drivers, I think this is definitely a great culmination of drivers that you wouldn't typically see in any ordinary split.
And on top of that, of course, if you are one of the lower I rating drivers, when you're out on track with somebody that's faster than you, it just makes you want to push more. And when you have somebody that's faster around you, you just want to push. Again, that's just the way that a racing driver thinks. But let's take a moment and pause here and talk about the events at hand. The BMW M2 CS leads the field over a pack of hypercars. Now, that's not going to be the case for long. The safety car will be pulling in, and then the de facto safety car will be handed over to Alex Caruso. It'll be on his discretion to go, but I think we are going to be waiting for the green flag for the most part. Now, the drivers, we saw in the last one, a little bit of confusion with some drivers getting out of place early. Let's see if that happens again. Alex Caruso will be taking the safety car position now as we get ready to go green for race 2, the Team America Talent Scout event. Event 4. Green flag is getting ready to go. It looks like it's already out. The drivers are down when it comes to the loud pedal, and it's going to be Alex Caruso ahead into the first corner. Jake Cummins slotting into second. Third place up for contention right now as Bronson Turner is going to be in contact with Nathaniel Fryman. There's a pile up in the first corner, and it looks like there's not going to be 1, 2, 3. It looks like 5, 6 cars involved with the lap 1 contact. Big names taken out of this one. Sauger, how do we make this one? What do we break down here? We're certainly going to be pulling up a replay very shortly, as that's going to be Aaron Brown, who had a very good start, send it off into the outfield, all on his lonesome. Well, Sauger, I was expecting an eventful start too. This is not what I had in mind.
Over to Bronson Turner, who chases down Jake Cummings for the second place right now, with Jacob Dick in tow. It looks like the 81 got through unscathed from that massive turn 1, lap 1 incident that we saw. I guess that would actually be turn 2 technically, but either way, moving swiftly on, Javier Sierra has made it through pretty unscathed. It has made his way all the way up to P6, and has Eric Hausband, who made it through unscathed as well. That's a lot of positions gained for overall for Eric. But let's talk about Brian Troyer for a second. The number 36 with 10 positions gained.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Let's take a look, though, at this replay. So we are 4 abreast heading into the first corner. What could possibly go wrong? Well, absolutely everything, it turns out. Is that Eric Halsband on the inside? I'm not sure who that was, but goodness me. One little contact spins out, and everybody following suit, well, had nowhere to go, really. Unfortunately, there was not much of a choice. We've had another collision, it sounds like, as I'm hearing from our producer, Tom Bryan. It looks like Gerson Herrera, as well as, I'm guessing, Sergio Orestes was involved, maybe Reed Couch. Either way, certainly some drivers involved here. It looks like it was Sergio Orestes. No, not Orestes. He's still out on circuit, so it must have been Couch. Battle's still on, though, as we look back up the field. This is going to be Eric Halsband trying to make his way through. You mentioned the positions gained. Actually, no, he's trying to, yes, make it through at the moment. Javier Sierra, a little door banging as we head into the middle sector, and now it looks like Eric Halsband is going to be behind for the time being. 3 positions gained. Javier Sierra making 1 up, but you mentioned Brian Troyer, who, yes, absolutely, both Sean Roberts and Brian Troyer, but Brian in particular, who is also an oval expert, somebody who you don't expect to be doing particularly well, no offense, Brian, in the circuit racing, but my goodness, this is a man who will start in the back in pretty much any circuit race, and he will manage to make it to the front. So Brian Troyer, avoiding contact at all costs, great job to him, manages to get himself up into the top 10. This is a replay, by the way, of Gerson Herrera's incident. As we see into the first corner we go. It looks like Aaron Brown is going to be involved on the outside. So Herrera That's a difficult one to call. Call it a racing incident, call it a collision. I'm not sure what the stewards will, but you gotta leave room. And Gerson Herrera did use a lot of the track. Now, he did think he was clear. I don't think he thought that Aaron Brown was there by any stretch, and I don't think Aaron Brown thought that he was going to move over. So an unfortunate collision. Call it a racing incident for right now. This, though, Sauger, is some racing that we're looking at. Eric Halsband all over the back of Sierra as he tries to figure out this puzzle of where do I get by?
Eric Halsband trying to push hard and fair through Javier Sierra's defenses. But Javi has been doing a great job of keeping up the paces here in front of Halsband. If they lick their wounds and work together, they might be able to catch up to Jacob Dick, who's 6 seconds up the road. But I have a feeling like these two Team America drivers are most likely going to duke it out here on the asphalt rather than settle their dispute peacefully. Right now, the gap sat at around 0.3 of a second and isn't going anywhere, but the one between Brian Troyer and Nathaniel Fryman is definitely evaporating as Fryman has a good run on Troyer, and Troyer doesn't put up too much of a fight, knows that the slipstream was there from Fryman, and now he follows suit and tries to find that ideal pitch-perfect line around Interlagos.
Now, Brian, again, he might not be the fastest on track, but he is certainly one of the most intelligent drivers on the circuit right now. You can see how he just let the other opponent through and says, you know what, you're quicker than me. I don't really care. I'm going to use you. I'm going to have you be my slipstream partner. You're going to be my line for the next 3 or 4 laps. And eventually, you're probably going to pull away from me, but that's okay. I don't really care. Again, I think Brian coming into this with the mindset, he has probably the best mindset out of anyone coming into this, to be honest. A very great guy, Brian Troyer, as well. So seeing him out there is always a welcome sight. He's managed to find himself in a little bit of a scrap now with the Camber and Caster driver, Lewis Holloway. So let's see how he can manage with that, down in 13th position, and currently Brian Troyer up in 12th. Jacob Dick still all over Bronson Turner like a rash. That's not going to be going anywhere, and unfortunately for Bronson, I don't think he has any cream for it either. Brown trying to recover. He's down in 9th position right now after that contact that we saw earlier on with Morgan Stringer being a bit of a nuisance ahead.
Definitely a cork in the bottle right now for Aaron Brown, who got through that accident with a little bit of damage. Has Stringer in front, who puts on a single move defense to the inside line. Doesn't give the pinch back to the number 18, who goes the long way around the outside. And that'll be Brown making that one work through the S's.
Now, Aaron Brown on this recovery drive, if there's ever a track to have a recovery drive on, it is Interlagos. This is a circuit throughout pretty much the entirety of this circuit's lifetime has had dramas, has had comebacks, has had all sorts of different incidents that have happened. And of course, the 2008 one that I mentioned with Lewis Hamilton being one where, of course, he finished ahead to get 5th position. But also on top of that, Ayrton Senna's emotional win back in 1991, where he was stuck in 6th gear the entirety of the race and still managed to take victory. Also back in 2012, where Sebastian Vettel won the world championship due to the early collision. There's been so much that's happened at this circuit, and tonight I think we're going to see something similar, Sauger. Eric Halsband has already sort of proven that, bringing himself back up to 6th position. Fryman on the drive as well, but again, I think Aaron Brown is one to certainly keep an eye on tonight.
Would be remiss without mentioning the race leader as well, Alex Caruso, who's going to be crowned, or I should say provisionally at the very least, the new title holder for Team America Talent Scout, as we get a new winner in the event. With Jordan Johnson's absence tonight, we'll have to see what the drivers can do when Jordan Johnson is ready and at his most capable. Lewis Holloway there pulls out a move on Brian Troyer, the Camber and Caster driver. Now has Riley Mills, the 112, up the road by 1.3 seconds. And now that he's unleashed, let's see what he can do. But up ahead, it's Bronson Turner and Jacob Dick, separated by just around 0.3 of a second, with Javier Sierra and Eric Halsband in their battle as well, settling around 0.2, 0.3 of a second. Here's Mills behind Morgan Stringer. Last lap around for Stringer and Riley Mills were separated by around 3 seconds. Morgan Stringer having a big mistake there, and now he's having another big mistake, and this is going to open the door for Riley Mills in the 1-1-2 to attack, and he's looking at that highlighter machine's inside line. The number 91 opens the door. The 1-1-2 presents himself, and the outside line again through the Enfield section turns into the outside line. Switcheroo until we get to the penultimate corner, single file line. As Mike and I have experienced, you can't really go side by side through that penultimate corner successfully. It's a lot shallower and sharper than you would expect, and the track comes at you faster. Well, I should say the grass comes at you faster than you like it to as well.
Nearly a blind corner in these cars. I mean, when you go on board with them, you can pretty much see that you're looking through a letterbox slit. There's really not much vision to be had. Here's Eric Halsband, by the way, and Javier Sierra. That was a very easy overtake for Eric Halsband as he just used the momentum. Now, I don't think he's out of the woods just yet, though. Sierra down to the inside for now, but as they get to the middle section in the infield, through Laranya they go. It's probably going to be advantage to Eric Halsband as he just has the proper line. A little bit of a mistake there from Javier Sierra. He's going to wash out wide, and that is going to be the position done for Eric Halsband for now. I would not count Javier Sierra out by any stretch of the imagination. Bronson Turner also doing a good job holding on to Jacob Dick's position right now on that bottom step of the podium. Really not gaining. You know, we talk about the pace and the lap time. Bronson Turner, 1:28.5 on the previous lap. Jacob Dick, 1:28.4. So he is there with the pace. He just needs to find a little bit more. It's one thing to catch. It's certainly another to overtake, as Lewis Holloway is currently finding out with Mills.
Battle for 11th and 12th, the rest in the hands of Riley Mills and Lewis Holloway. And Morgan Stringer securing P10. Well, is it actually secure going into the final 10 minutes of this event? When you have guys like Riley Mills and Lewis Holloway behind, I don't think anything is safe, such as the feeling that Bronson Turner has, as Jacob Dick is breathing down his neck right now in that number 66. It's spicing up for the podium battle as Caruso and Cummings have got P1-2 secured. The 3.6 second gap is looking pretty healthy, as Bronson Turner sits back 6.4 back. The door ajar there from Turner, but Jacob Dick saw the vortex of doom there closing on that apex.
And honestly, I got to give some credit here to Jacob Dick. He is doing an incredible job of keeping the pressure onto Bronson Turner, as Bronson looks extremely uncomfortable ahead of Jacob Dick. So he's really doing everything he needs to, getting in the head of his opponent and trying to force a mistake out of him. And eventually, I think that will happen. That's Morgan Stringer's mindset as well right now, as he also has Lewis Holloway to contend with, though, behind him. You can't look back. You don't want to be looking in your mirrors right now if you're Morgan Stringer. You want to be looking forward. And unfortunately there, Ryan Mills getting a little further away, or Riley Mills, excuse me, getting a little further away than he would like. This is going to allow Lewis Holloway a potential opportunity as we go through Jungsao. A little wide, though, up ahead for Mills. Is that going to be the disaster that spilled for now for Stringer? Not quite yet, Sagar, but that is going to allow him to get much closer. And is that the weakness that we're looking for if we're in Morgan Stringer's shoes? That very final corner, or the final official, unofficial corner, or whatever you want to call it, through Jungsao. Is that the chance to really get into your opponent's head and make that overtake happen? You mentioned before it's near impossible to go side by side, but you certainly can set one up for the first corner.
This is where the driver's mental fortitude is going to get tested, right? You've been sitting behind a driver for a certain amount of laps. You guys are running, and gals, excuse me, are running just about nearly identical laps at this point in time. The question is where can you capitalize on their mistakes, or where can you capitalize on when you're the fastest of their slowest in comparison. And here's an example of that as Jacob Dick tried to get a nose along the inside of Bronson's Turner car, but just had the door closed on him abruptly. And I think Jacob Dick saw that door closing a little bit more rudely than I think he would have liked to have. Maybe been invited over for some tea and some crackers or crumpets, as my good friend Tom Bryant would enjoy.
Well, the door was slammed firmly in his face, and there's every right to do so. Bronson Turner owned that corner, and that was his right to do it. Jacob Dick, with a flashy of the headlights afterwards, certainly not too thrilled with it. Here's a little bit of a replay, by the way, as we hop on board through Junk Sao, all over the back, and that's that contact that we saw. So Jacob Dick, getting a little bit frustrated at the fact that the opponent is not taking the corner as quickly he would like. Well, Jacob, I hate to break it to you, but make the overtake if that's the case. No, either way, all jokes aside, Jacob Dick and Bronson Turner doing an incredible job right now at staying line and stern, and Jacob really trying to get into the head of Bronson, but unfortunately, that is a bit of a monkey's paw. He ends up, well, spiting his own face at that point, and Jacob Dick, with a little too much aggression and a little too much right foot, he finds himself sideways.
Oh, man, definitely not the way you wanted to see that battle end, but here we are sprung with another one. Morgan Stringer and Riley Mills duking it out for the 10th spot on this race night. In the feature race, we're just about to approach the final five, and I want to know everybody's predictions. Who's going to come out in best of the rest? Is it going to be Bronson Turner or Jacob Dick, Eric Halbin, Javier Sierra? It's still anybody's ball game. Want to give a big shout out to the Team America Talent Scout event. And if you like what you see, you want to get involved in our next event, make sure you scan that QR code, sign up, get involved, join the Discord, get notifications for what our next event will be and when that event will be. Mike has all the details.
Of course, we have coming up with our Screen to Speed race, our all-women's championship. That is going to be up next. It's going to be VIR in the Vs. That's going to be May 17th. And then after that, we have Road America in the GT3s. That's going to be on June 7th. Either one, you don't want to miss. We also, of course, have a little bit of NASCAR racing that we're going to be doing. Maybe not quite as official just yet with a league, but we are looking to get it there eventually. Talladega 50 coming up in the trucks. That is going to be very exciting. You certainly do not want to miss that. And on top of that, on the 9th of May, we have a Legends night as well. So a bit of Legends for the, I can't remember what track, unfortunately, but we have the Legends. Oran Park, there we go, taking to the circuit, and we'll be able to battle it out there. That's going to be an exciting one, Sagar. I can't wait. The Legends are such a good time, always. Little motorbike engines in a 1934 Ford Coupe. Now, though, back to the action. Mills and Stringer still at each other's throats. We also have Halsban and Dick. Don't count that battle out just yet. Eric Halsban has been rapid tonight, and I certainly could see him maybe not getting onto the bottom step of the podium, but a fourth place finish is definitely possible. Now Riley Mills here, he's all over the back of Stringer and looking to make a move quickly. Stringer takes to the racing line. I'm not sure I like that decision, as this is going to allow Mills all the way to the inside. Now the inside turns to the out for the second part of the corner. Through Senna they go. Advantage currently to Stringer, but Mills is going to pull the wool over his eyes and make that move stick like glue. Nicely done from Riley Mills.
It's definitely not over yet. Morgan Stringer is probably just biding his time right now, understanding that being in the lead of these pack battles isn't necessarily the safest place to be going into the final 2 laps. Morgan Stringer saw it go wrong for himself earlier on during the first race, but now during the second, I think he's learned his lesson and is probably going to pounce back into that top 10. Looking at Aaron Brown right now, his last lap around was about 0.6 faster than Sean Roberts up ahead. That 333 is up 9 positions right now. Aaron Brown sitting back around a second from Roberts up ahead, but that gap is steadfast closing down as Brown continues to pick up the pace in that number 18. There it is again, a 129.0 compared to a 129.2 from Brown. So Roberts lighting the fuse behind his car and igniting the rocket ship as fast as he possibly can. Mills and Stringer continue their bout for P10. I told you Stringer wasn't down and out from that bout just yet, and he's going to prove me right going into the final 2 laps. Looking at Alex Caruso, the number 68 has driven this race pitch perfectly and flawlessly. The best lap being a 127.2. His last lap around being nearly identical to that, a 127.5, as he continues to increase that gap. Lap 13 under wraps, going on to lap 14 now. That will be the white flag lap given to us by Barney the Flagman.
Oh, one thing I just noticed, I was going to mention, Sauger, Eric Halsband was a second quicker than Jacob Dick on the previous lap. Something has happened. Eric Halsband must have been just pushing too hard because that gap has come down to 1.7 seconds now. It was nearly down to a second. So unfortunately for Eric, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he's going to find P4 by the end of this. Now, it's still not over yet. White flag is out, so we may see a position there, but I think Eric Halsband has given it his all, and 5th position is where he will fall, assuming Sierra doesn't end up overtaking him. Still 7/10 between those two. Brown, though, all of the back of Roberts. This has been a battle since pretty much the beginning of this race, at least the 10-minute mark. As we see those two all over it for the last time around the circuit. Aaron Brown, are you going to go for the move into the next corner? No, let's be honest. He's way too far back, and there is no opportunities just yet. The middle sector will have to be the chance, but the chance is going to be thin. Can he make it happen into the Laranyas? He's a little far back. Either way, we take a look up to Jung Sao now as Caruso is on his home stretch for his maiden victory, and a little bit of a change in pace for the Team America Talent Scout event as we have a new winner entering the victory circle tonight. Alex Caruso, take a bow. The checkered flag is awaiting you, and the victory is yours. Alex Caruso takes the victory for the Team America Talent Scout event 4. Jake Cummins going to come home in second, and Bronson Turner going to be taking third. The top 3 falling where they lie, Sauger, certainly making the points easy for the post race. But Alex Caruso will be our overall winner. Jake Cummins in second, and Bronson Turner more than likely in third. But a great race tonight from Jacob Dick. A great drive in race 2 from Eric Halsband. Lots of stories development, and speaking of stories developing, Aaron Brown nearly getting the position over Sean Roberts, but not on this occasion. 7th for Roberts, 8th for Brown, Fryman coming home in 9th, and top 10 finish for Morgan Stringer.
11th is going to be for Lewis Holloway with Brian Troyer in 12th. Sergio Restes in 13th with Mills, Couch, Herrera, and Bowman out of contention, unfortunately.
The checkered flag out. The drivers are going to be finishing the lap now as we have our last driver on circuit to take the checkered flag. A few DNFs to be had as well, of course, with that lap 1 incident that we had. A dramatic one, a lot to break down in this race. Some drivers getting an incredible bonus from the start, and some not so much. Riley Mills, Reed Couch, Gerson Herrera, Max Bowman, all drivers involved, and Max Bowman being the real nail in the coffin, I think, as he had a great finish in race 1. Bowman almost in competition at one point in time for the top 5, but unfortunately for him, just managed to fall back down the order. But Eric Halsband doing a great job. Sean Roberts, 9 positions gained in race 2. A little bit of a sleeper drive for Roberts, one to certainly mention. But I have to say, Sauger, race 1 was a little bit of the drivers, I think, feeling each other out and getting their game plan set for race 2. And race 2, everything got thrown at the wall and not much stuck other than a few battles. Again, that lap 1 drama, I think, sticking out more than most. But what an event here tonight.
Absolutely. I think this was a good showcase of what the drivers could do in unrestricted vehicles without any driver aids. Yes, mistakes were made. Yes, we had some great battles at hand with some wheel-to-wheel action, but not a whole lot of contact that resulted from those battles. Most of that happened going into turn 1 or turn 2 in either race, but every solo battle or duo battle that we saw, or even trio, kept it green and clean for the most part. And that was a great sight to see, that drivers with equal lap times were giving each other equal amounts of respect, and we're just challenging each other over and over again to push a little bit harder, drive a little bit faster, and perhaps be a little bit more consistent. Or if you're the driver behind, wishing that the driver in front was not as consistent as you, so you could get that position made up. But that leads us into the official or unofficial results.
Yeah, we'll be taking a look at that here very, very shortly. And on top of that, again, we have a new title, a new throne sitter in this case. I wouldn't call Jordan Johnson dethroned, considering he didn't show up. So it's kind of hard to say that Alex Caruso is faster than Jordan Johnson. We just don't know at this point. We'll have to find out in the GT3s as we get ready to head to Road America for the next race. But more on that later. Of course, if you are watching right now, whether you're watching on Twitch, YouTube, or Esports Edge, or of course eClutch, we thank you for watching. We'll be here for the time being. We're just currently rounding up our top 3 drivers for some interviews, and we'll be hearing from them very, very shortly. But in the meantime, of course, we can talk a little bit about Team America. As I just mentioned, the race coming up that we have is going to be, again, Road America in the GT3s. That's going to be on June 7th. You do not want to miss it. It is going to be electric. In terms of events on the calendar, this is probably my second event that I was looking forward to. It's going to be a lot of overtaking. There's going to be a lot of battling, and I presume there's going to be a lot of cars on track, considering it's the GT3s, one of, if not the fan favorite of iRacing right now. And again, a massive shout out to iRacing for allowing us to use their platform. This is again June 7th for the next event. But Sagar, let's get into the breakdown and the results here for race 2 here for round 4 at Interlagos. Alex Caruso takes victory again by 5 seconds. Jake Cummins, I got to give him a little more credit in race 2 as he managed to hold that gap pretty close, but unfortunately at the end just sort of fell off, I think, with the tire degradation. Bronson Turner coming home in 3rd position with Jacob Dick in 4th. Eric Hallisband coming home in 5th with quite the recovery drive after race 1. Javier Sierra, 6th position with Sean Roberts coming home in 7th. Aaron Brown in P8 with Nathaniel Fryman in 9th, and rounding out your top 10, Morgan Stringer.
Lewis Holloway brings home 11th with Brian Troyer in 12th. Sergio Orestes in 13th. Riley Mills in 14th. Reed Couch, Gerson Herrera, and Max Bowman round out the 17 participants tonight for the Team America Talent Scout event 2026.
And as we, of course, get ready to head over to the next one, again, we will be hearing from our drivers very, very shortly. But if you are looking for some races in the meantime, and you are, of course, being one of those oval experts like we have out on track, like Aaron Brown, like Brian Troyer, you can get involved at Talladega. We are going to be heading over to Dega on May 16th for some truck racing. Again, the truck series has been very successful here at Init. Lots of great drivers and lots of great drives. It has been tight racing through and through, and if that's something that you tight and clean racing, might I add, we had over 80 laps green in our previous one. If that's something that you want to get involved with, head on over to the website, scan that QR code, and get involved. It sounds like, though, Sagar, you've had the opportunity to catch up with Bronson Turner, so let's get some of these interviews underway.
Bronson Turner, how does it feel to come out where you did, and how does the car feel, most importantly, around such an important track like Interlagos?
I don't think we have.
Oh, we can't hear you, Bronson.
Audio.
Come through on Discord.
As, of course, we get that solved here. 1 second. We'll be back with Bronson Turner. You gotta love live TV, folks, as it often does happen. So we'll be hearing from Bronson very, very shortly as he will get his microphone under, and then we will potentially hear from him now, maybe? No.
You guys got me now?
There we go. Now
Yes.
we have him. Yes, indeed. All right,
Sorry
Sauger
about
and
that.
Bronson Turner.
All good, Bronson. I'll ask the question again. How does it
Yeah.
feel to drive these cars around Interlagos? And how does it feel to come out on the podium tonight?
Dude, it feels amazing to be on the podium. It is a long time coming. I think I've done every single one of these races. I've been fourth place, I believe, 2 or 3 times over the last 2 seasons. So, yeah, I obviously there were some good guys that I'd much rather beat to get onto the podium that weren't here tonight. But yeah, nonetheless, super stoked. The car actually felt okay in race 1. Candidly, I didn't even think I was going to make it to the race tonight at all. I had some things earlier in the day, and so I was going and doing some motocross earlier in the day. Came home, made it just in time, hopped on. Didn't even have a good setup. Was kind of tweaking a medium downforce. It was way too little downforce, I think. Was dealing with a ton of understeer, especially in the second race. So, you know, all in all, just super stoked, and couldn't be more grateful to you guys for putting this on, and also for, you know, my team, SR Motorsports, finally getting on the podium here.
Absolutely. That is a great shout. And I mean, just talk to us about your dedication. I mean, you had a busy day. You wanted to participate in an event like this. You know, how do you balance the priorities and how do you negotiate that with a busy schedule?
Yeah, I mean, candidly, I feel like this is always a priority for me. Like, sim racing is my thing. It's what I do, both, you know, in and outside of work as well. And so, yeah, I definitely prioritize this, but it was one of those things, having an opportunity to go do something else that I don't normally get to do, and had to squeeze it in on a weekend. And so, you know, like I said, just kind of racing home to get back, and wanted to make sure that I made it today. And as it turns out, it was well worth the effort.
Bronson Turner, really appreciate your dedication to the cause and joining us and supporting in Esports. Anybody you'd like to shout out or anybody you'd like to thank on the podium tonight?
Oh, just the SR Motorsports team. Everybody that we have over there is great, and we're growing, and it's been amazing. Shout out to the wife as well, always letting me do this, especially on a Sunday night. So, yeah, that's probably it. Oh, shout out to Ferrari Champagne here. No, I'm just kidding. You got to pop the spoils when you finally land on the podium. So it's no, it feels great. And again, thank you to you guys for putting this on and having it be so professional. This is amazing for the sim racing community. So couldn't thank you guys enough.
Thank you, Bronson Turner. Really appreciate the kudos. Have a great night. And as always, stay safe out there.
Likewise.
A long time coming for Bronson Turner, I think it's safe to say, and it's awesome to see him on the podium finally. So, having that being said, we will get to our next interview. Also, of course, we are going to, in the meantime, I guess we're going to be talking here a little bit about some other events that we have, of course, with our Init team. So if you're looking to get involved with our Init team, again, this is going to be for our iRacing official events, so as well as other leagues and other community races that we will be taking part in. If you're looking to grow your skills, get involved with an amazing community here at Init Esports as well, this is the place to go. It's a very safe space. If you're looking to get involved, both men and women are welcome for the team, and we highly encourage you to get involved. Scan that QR code, head over to the website, and you can find our applications there for getting involved with our team. It's awesome, and we've had some quite good success so far in our previous event, so we're looking, of course, to find more splits, we're looking to find more drivers, and with that, of course, more opportunities to race. Now, it looks like we are going to be hearing from our next place driver, currently sitting in P2, is going to be Jake Cummins. We're going to be getting a copy here in a second. There we go. Jake, how's it going? First off, welcome to the podium. It's nice to see you up here. How was the event here tonight? Race 1? Why don't we start with that?
Yeah, that was pretty fun. I didn't have time to practice for this event. I signed up pretty last minute. We had the Nürburgring 24-hour event just yesterday, finished up this morning. So I just kind of took the rest of the day off and used the session to get used to it. Haven't driven the LMP2 in a long time, but after a few laps, I was like, I remember why I like this car so much. It was a blast once I got used to it. I loved the setup that I had stashed away from like a year ago or something. And yeah, Alex, I had nothing for him, especially in that first race. One thing about my setup, it had no straight line speed. I had max downforce, couldn't have any more. So when I got passed by Nathaniel, that made things a little tricky for a while. But I was able to kind of juke around him a little bit, and then it's kind of, I built the confidence for the next race. The track kept getting cooler and cooler and faster, so better for me. And then yeah, it helped me a lot in that second race for sure.
You kind of read my mind on my next question, because that's more or less exactly what I was going to ask. But yeah, so heading into race 2, your pace was much better, noticeably better. You managed to stay within 1.5 seconds for the first 15 minutes, and then I think towards the end, was it the tires, or was it just, like you said, that straight line speed once you kind of got out of the slipstream entirely, that you just kind of fell off the back of Alex?
Yeah, he definitely just had the better of me pace-wise anyways. The setup definitely played a part. I think I would claw back most of what he would gain on me on the straights in the middle section of the track, and then it would just yo-yo back and forth. Even if I had the draft, I probably could have kept with him, especially once I got super focused and into the groove in the middle part of that second race. But I don't think I would have been able to pass him. I would have had to do something pretty crazy to have a chance. So I'll take my P2 with just kind of showing up to do this. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, toward the end, I think I was just trying to push the braking zones a little bit too much. I was, that's the last thing that you really focus on nailing when you aren't completely dialed in to a car track combo, is I can definitely have a little more of a later braking stage in this corner or that corner, and I just got it wrong a couple times and lost about a second on one lap, but otherwise yeah, I was able to match or go a little bit faster than him for quite a few of those laps. So yeah, a lot better than race 1 like you mentioned, but I don't think I was ever going to have anything for him, so I'm happy with how it went.
There's always next race, of course, as we get ready to head over to Road America in the GT3s, which brings us on to the next point. How are you feeling for that one? We expect a lot more faster drivers to be in that session as well, so the competition is going to be quite high. I'm curious, how are you looking forward to heading over to the GT3s?
Yeah, I honestly didn't even know that was the next one. Thanks for telling me. Yeah, I'd be interested to see how the car choice takes that into effect, and what car might be best there. I'll definitely show up to it if I can. Yeah, I know Jordan Johnson has been kind of thwacking everyone in this recently, so I'm sure he'll show up and probably wipe the floor with me as well. But yeah, looking forward to it. It's some good fun after my collegiate season is finally wrapped up. I was doing 3-4 races a week, so then I had NERB and now this, so it's still been busy, but now I can take a little break and I'll look forward to these instead. Yeah, it's good fun.
Awesome. Well, Jake, before we let you go here tonight, is there anybody that you would like to thank for your P2 finish?
Yeah, I'll thank you guys for putting on what I'm assuming is an awesome broadcast. Can't wait to watch it back, and I'll thank Team Init and just the whole event and that you guys have organized. I'll thank my wife, who's made some baked potatoes for me. I'm gonna go have that now, and obviously thank you to TechSport Racing and the TechSport Sim team that we've put together recently. It's been a lot of fun representing them. Didn't have a paint for them, but whatever. And yeah, thank you to Converse University, graduating my master's degree here in a couple weeks. A lot of people to thank.
Awesome. Well, that's really good to hear. Congratulations, Jake. And again, congratulations on your P2 finish here tonight. Enjoy the champagne and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you. You guys all.
Of course, massive thank you to Regadget as well for making these events possible. If you have a PC that's sitting in a corner and you don't know what to do with it, send it over to them. They're going to refurbish it. They'll get it made into something brilliant and off to a family, off to a library, off to a school that needs it. And on top of that, if you're interested, they have their new Phoenix bundle as well. This is going to be their ultimate gaming PC for an extremely affordable price, starting around that $1,500 mark for an incredible build. You can find yourself getting a massive setup, and on top of that, with a keyboard, with a headset, with everything included as well for that Phoenix bundle. And you can use code INIT to find yourself with a little bit of a discount as well. Again, that's going to be shop.regadget.com or regadget.com/gaming, where you can find more about it. But Sagar, as we get ready here to sail the ship, we got one more driver that we get to hear from here tonight, and it is going to be our Victor, Alex Caruso. Sagar, you've had the chance to catch up with him. I'll let you take it away.
Alex, how does it feel to not take the top step of the podium not once, but twice tonight for the Team America Talent Scout event 2026? Oh, hold on. We have an audio issue.
Hold on, that was the wrong button. That's my bad.
There we go. We got you now, Alex.
My bad, guys. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed both races. I was just happy to have some competition to race against. The first race was a little odd just because I think on the start there, Jake might have got tangled up with a couple of the guys behind. So that just kind of gave me a gap that it was really hard for him to recover from after that. But the second race was a lot closer, and it was a lot of fun to just try and keep him not too close to me, try and build that gap up a little bit, and just focus on my own race.
Absolutely. What does it look like as far as preparation, focus for these types of events? You know, does it come down to a lot of practice, or were you racing in the Nürburgring 24 like Jake was?
No, actually, I wasn't racing in the Nürburgring 24. I've actually just been grinding Laguna Seca officials all week in the LMP2. So I actually felt really comfortable in the car. This is my favorite car in the whole service. So it's my home. I spent a lot of time here. So it's not too hard for me to jump in and just kind of get up to pace with relatively low practice. I think I did just under an hour last night and then just hopped into the practice session today. But fortunately, we prepared for an event for a league for my team a couple weeks back, so I already had a setup that I made, and I already had done some prep for that, so carried over to this. These conditions were a little bit more sketchy than what we raced in, so my low downforce set didn't feel quite as planted as I hoped, but it did the job well enough.
Although you were comfortable in your own skin driving the LMP2, looking forward to the next round of the Team America Talent Scout event is going to be in GT3s. Do you think you'll be as equipped to tackle the challenges with faster drivers showing up, or do you think the challenge will be a little bit greater for you to tackle?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That'll be a much more difficult challenge for me. I'm not a GT3 racer. That's where I started, but it's not where I've spent most of my time since then. So yeah, I'm hoping I can make the next race, but if I do, then I anticipate it'll be a little bit more challenging than this one was.
Looking forward to see the battles at hand, that's for sure. Alex, anything that you want to, anybody that you'd like to shout out, or anybody you'd like to thank on the victory tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I just would love to thank my team, Hyperion Racing. Those guys are awesome. I'm part owner of that team, and I started it with 6 other guys, and they're just the best guys in the world. I love everybody else that we've added to the team. It's my family away from family, so yeah, big shout out to those guys, and then as well as a big shout out to Luke Wallace and Ross O'Connor as well. They used to race for Hyperion, but I've stayed close with them since they left, and it's awesome to cheer those guys on, and they were cheering me on in the race today, so got to give them a big shout out for that too. Also, got to give a big shout out to my family, of course. My wife is super supportive, and I wouldn't be able to put as much time into this and be as prepared for this and compete as much as I can without her support. So big shout out to her and to my son, Jace. Just got to watch him play soccer this morning and cheered him on, and I know he's going to be excited for me when I go and tell him after I'm done here.
That's awesome news. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Really appreciate your time and commitment to the Team America Talent Scout event. Hopefully we'll see you next time out, but if not, we'll talk to you soon, Mr. Caruso. Stay safe out there.
Thank you very much.
And that, folks, is going to start to do it for tonight. Of course, we still have a little bit more to talk about and break down. And of course, an advertisement. If you are watching over on the Esports Edge side, we'll be right back. Do not go anywhere. If you're watching on any other platform, we will be here the whole time. But my goodness, Sagar, it's so nice to hear from some of these drivers, especially when it comes to Alex there at the end. You know, you just love to hear the camaraderie, with the drivers, and then be on top of it, the gratification, and hearing the fact that he's going to go and share that victory with his son, and then have a good night after that. Again, you know, it sounds simple, right, at the end of it, but this is what we're here for when it comes to sim racing. You go out there, give it your best effort, and then at the end of the day, you settle down, come back and say, you know what, that was fun, and maybe I didn't win, maybe I got second, maybe I got third, maybe I got 15th place. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, did you have fun? The answer is yes. That's what we're here for.
That was my big takeaway as well from all 3 interviews, was the level of gratitude that they had when you went to the shout outs and thanks from every single one of these drivers, it was never about themselves. It was about everybody that surrounds them in this community that makes what they do possible. Their significant other waiting for them with the baked potato after a hard-fought race. There's child waiting for them after their hard-fought day on the soccer field, right? Being able to share these stories with them and your accomplishments is what makes sim racing such an amazing sport and these communities so wonderful to be part of. I'm grateful tonight for all of the participants tonight that showed up and showed out. I know we had a lot of other events that people could have participated in tonight, but to the drivers that did show up to support in it, thank you so much for your continued support. It really goes a long way.
And of course, a massive thank you to all the viewers that are watching, whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, Esports Edge, or eClutch. We thank you massively and tremendously for joining us on this journey, on this ride, and on this story that we have continuing for the foreseeable future for the rest of this year. The Team America 2026 event calendar will be coming out soon. So if you're interested in that, head into the Discord. No spoilers, but of course, we will be releasing that within the coming few weeks. So do join the Discord. Again, !Discord if you're on Twitch. You can head down to the description if you're on YouTube, or you can head over to our website, inatesports.gg, if you are over on Esports Edge or eClutch. Now, as we get ready here to wrap this one up tonight, Sauger, what are some of the highlights that we had here from the night? Obviously, we had a couple lowlights when it comes to the collisions that we had on lap 1, especially in race 2. But in terms of the highlights, again, Brian Schroyer being a massive stick out for me, Aaron Brown being another story that I just always love to be a part of when it comes to circuit racing. I'm curious what you had in your mind for some of those highlights.
I think a couple of highlights for me, and I'm going to throw in some of my lowlights as well. Are going to include some driver names and moments. So Eric Halsband during race number 1, his heroic run to the front of the grid and then the tumble down the order as well. I mean, it just couldn't have gone worse for Eric Halsband, but the recovery drive for race number 2 was nothing short of a heroic drive. Up 4 positions at the end of the night, climbs up into the top 5. That was a good run. Silent but deadly, Javier Sierra. Didn't win anything, but also didn't lose anything tonight. Settled into 6th place for the second race. Didn't have a great running for the first race. He's a driver that we've seen show up for the NASCAR events, and now that he's participating in the Team America Talent Scout event, I cannot wait to see what this driver can do across all disciplines and all walks. We also have the newcomer Sergio Orestes participating from Team Camber and Caster, keeping my eye on him in 13th position, and also who would be remiss without mentioning Brian Schroyer. Like you said earlier on in the broadcast, his just racecraft and mental fortitude to know the right decisions to make is probably more profound than most drivers on the field, and even most drivers that I see. It's just a high level of intelligence that thinks about preservation rather than aggression.
Yeah, absolutely. And always seeing any of these drivers out on track is a good time. I see we have Ron Stuch in chat as well. Big thank you for joining us as well. Of course, for all the Team America Talent Scout events. It's been a ride. Again, we still have plenty to go here, and with getting ready to head over to Team America for the Road America, for Team America. It's very, very fitting. You can see on your screen, you can scan that QR code if this is something that interests you. But this is going to be an electric one. I think, we've hyped it up a little bit, but now is really the time to say this is a track where drivers can make overtakes happen. It's GT3s, it's Road America. This is familiar ground for a lot of the field. We heard some drivers mention the fact that they are maybe not the most familiar with it. But trust me, most of the field, this is going to draw the numbers, this is going to draw the eyes, and we're going to see a lot of different cars, a lot of different manufacturers taking to the grid as well, and I cannot wait to see it. That's what GT3 is all about, and you can scan that QR code and get involved if that's something that you June 7th is going to be coming up next month. And with that, of course, we have our entire calendar for the rest of this 6-month span. Getting ready to head over to VIR in the V's. That's going to be on May 17th. Our next race that we have, that's 2 weeks time for our all women's championship Screen to Speed. If that's something that interests you, again, head over to our website. Signups are still available. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma, get her out on track. Why not? Screen to Speed is an amazing series, and we love to see the inclusivity as well. So speaking of Screen to Speed, if you do want to join, you can go ahead and scan that QR code that's going to be popping up on your screen here momentarily. There it is, and you can head over to the website, and that will find the link to, again, Formula V's at VIR, Virginia International Raceway, May 17th, 2026. When we come back into shot, I'll be able to show you my lovely water bottle that's also Screen to Speed related. Hey, look, there it is. That's my, also, I thought my green screen was going to blur it out. Thankfully, it didn't. But yes, there's our lovely Screen to Speed water bottle that we have, of course, not available right now on the website, but hey, maybe soon we'll have some merch. But Sagar, let's get ready to land this ship, shall we? As this is going to be the wrap up to the Team America Talent Scout Event 4. Again, we've talked about the highlights, we've talked about the lowlights, we've talked about the race that's to come. Is there anything that we've missed on this one?
Not that I can think of. If you want to get involved, of course, make sure you check out Init's Discord. We have tons of events, and if you want to get racing every single weekend, look no further than Init Esports.
Yes, indeed. And with that, folks, I have been your host tonight, Mike Noss. Joined alongside me has been the Sagar Bakshi, and behind the scenes for AK Esports UK has been Tom Bryant. We're going to wrap this one up tonight. And on that note, again, I hope absolutely everybody has a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. Thank you, and good night.
The speed. The fight. You're on your own. Not anymore with Init Esports.